Welcome to Downtime with Donnie. Your host, Nathan Downs, chats with Donnie Lockhart, a 35-plus year veteran of the fence industry. We get his feedback and opinions on fencing, construction, and everything in between. Let's join Donnie and Nathan now.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Donnie. I'm your host, Nathan Downs, and we have Mr. Donnie Lockhart on the line here. Donnie, what's going on, bud?
Oh, not much. I hope everybody had a pretty good work day.
Everybody had a good Thanksgiving and all that stuff. We're back in the grind of it, getting ready for Christmas to hit. Ashley and I are actually, if you hear cutting and paper going on in the background, we're making a little craft for the office here. So,
it involves dollars. You can, when you pull the tab, you win.
Exactly. This is how we're doing Christmas bonuses this year. And so it's like a slot machine. So, anyways, that's funny. Well, hey, real quick, Donnie, I shared a post that I found on one of the Facebook pages from Austin Lewis, and he asked this question. I thought this would be a really appropriate question for us to talk about here on your show. So Austin's question was, what programs are small companies using to keep track of jobs and what each job is waiting on? Running into small issues, staying organized when I have 5 or more jobs going at once. And I'd like something where everyone from my company can look and see what's still waiting to be done. And what are we ready to do? Basically, what we need to prioritize.
Right. What needs to be done, or what needs to be done first.
So, sounds like he's doing old school stuff. We both have learned and did old school stuff ourselves. So he's looking for programs and everything to kind of maybe do some automations, just centralize the information. We use a litany of programs. So with that being said, I thought this would be appropriate to ask you, because I know you're not always the biggest fan of some of the technology, but you do embrace it and understand it very well. So what do you think? What do you think when you hear that? Like with some of the things that we use, like whether it's a CRM like Job Nimbus or it's another like infield app like Company Cam, what would you tell someone like that, buddy, that's trying to get better organized?
So for me, and of course, ours is still a work in progress, and probably will always be like that. I would imagine when it comes to you and the technology side. But I know we're working on getting to the point where we're actually going to have just the one app that we have to go to do all this. But we actually right now have to do a process to get everything fed into, like we're the Company Cam deal, pictures and stuff of the jobs. So we actually, when the salesman goes out, he actually is encouraged to get videos, photos of jobs whenever he's getting them in. This all gets fed into Job Nimbus that we use, right? I mean, pretty basic. It's not real hard to learn. For most people that are out here, I'm not tech savvy by any means, but it's pretty easy to learn for most people. And then we're actually doing photos and stuff through our Company Cam, and basically shares with Job Nimbus, right?
Correct. Yep.
It does keep track for the office. So, and what I do like about the whole thing is that you can designate who has access to different parts of the apps, correct? So like right. we don't have everybody doesn't have full access to Company Cam. They just need to know what jobs you're sharing. And it's a good collaborating tool. There's no doubt that it's a good collaborating tool. You can put as much information you want in it, for your crews. Everybody has their own way of putting information. Nate has his way. He has us doing it a certain way. And ours, it's complicated to some degree as far as the process you have to go to. The steps may be time consuming a little. And that's what we're trying to stop. We're actually trying to get it to where we're not having to do the process through 2 apps.
Right. Yeah. So what we're in the process of doing is, and Donnie and Randy and I have been working on this pretty diligently. We're looking at switching all of our systems over to Elite Technique with Matt Shiradana from JC Fence up in the Boston area. And what's pretty special about Matt's program, Donnie, and he's talked to us about it a number of times, is Matt is pretty fortunate to have a business where he has in-house crews and he has subcontractors, right?
Right.
So he knows how he has to control the information, handing that out to the, to the different groups. And, you only give subcontractors this access, and the in-house crews are going to have a little more access if they need it, et cetera, right?
Right.
And, yeah, it's a pretty cool, it's a pretty cool tool to be able
And
to
I'm
make.
actually really excited about it.
What's that?
I'm really excited about the new one.
It's going to be awesome, man.
There's some things that when we did the walkthrough with him here not too long ago, or the meeting we had with him, and he kind of lined us out on how. I'm sure I'm going to have to learn this some more. It's a matter of your guys getting in there and playing around with it a little bit, not changing things, but playing around with it a little bit, exploring. Because that's how I learned it, is just going in and exploring it. When I was at home at the very beginning, and of course there's lots of questions because I ask questions too. And
sure.
But, especially the older you get, like, even for Randy's learning some of this stuff too. And I knew he's going to catch right on anyway. So, but for older people, it is. I mean, the technology side of this is tough, but I do recommend all of it because it does help the office keep track. It allows the main guy to actually see where everybody's at, correct? Especially your in-house guys.
Right. Exactly.
It's a little more difficult with your contractors because they're self-employed, and guess what? They don't answer to you. They do, but they really answer to themselves. So that you got to play that little game with them most of the time. We do it all the time. Where we have to call them up and say, "Hey, well, when you get to this, when you do this,
what are you working on today?"
Yeah, and
are you working on my stuff?
And we have to call the clients and say, "Well, it's going to be another day," or we have somebody else that starts it that day, one or the other. That we find something open or something. But it's important for you to know your crew. I think for me, it's important that you need to know your crews. I think the best way that you can in Tulsa, and we don't always stick to this because we have certain crews that don't. I mean, they build in a shorter amount of time, as long as we stand behind the work, right? So for me, throughout the fencing industry, the whole time I've been in it, a 3-day turnaround for most crews is how you should be scheduling. And then I think that it's, if at all possible, you should not be setting a set date to start your jobs. Like, I mean, you've got to give the customer, let them know that we can give you as close a date as we can, but I don't want to give you a date and a time that sets you up, and then something unforeseen happens to the job your crew is already on that ties them up. And now you're going to call that customer and say, "Hey, well, something came up." And you can do that with some customers, but you've got some customers that are not happy whenever you do that. Like,
right.
They really do not like the fact that you're putting their job off to finish up the customer that you had before. And it's like, well, if we was on your job, we would be doing something.
Exactly. We're not going to leave you hanging or open for
right
a week or something like that. Yeah.
So, but as well as I do, you just have some clients that they don't care. Their time is important. More important than yours.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, I fight this battle all the time. One of them, just like today. I mean, I called and told you that we bid this job once before, a year ago or something like that. And I knew the guy's mean. He didn't show up. I talked to his wife whenever I met him, went out the first time. I got most of the details to some degree and all the information I needed. But even today, when I got there, I think I got there late 4 minutes. But he was another 15 minutes. His wife had to call him and say, "Hey, your fence guy's here." And he's like, "Oh, I thought it was at 12:15 or 12."
Oh, come on, man.
Something like that. I'm like, well, that's fine. I mean, I'm here, right?
Right.
And we did the walkthrough on it, and I took some of the video. I mean, I've got some of this already in there, and the drawings are already in there pretty much. We did make some changes on it, and but these are things that your time, when it comes to your time versus the customers, of course, your time's not important, right?
Right.
It's like your contractors. Your time's not important, but their time's important, which drives me nuts. Of course, you know this, but I think for the most part, I mean, the 3-day turnaround is probably your best bet if you want to keep a schedule and actually not have to call too many customers, right?
Yep.
That means that your crew shows up, they tear out and do the setting or do any tear out that they do and set the job up for the finished crew. And then the finished crew comes in and on the third day and they finish the job.
Yep.
If you stick with that procedure, then it'll allow you some leeway to fit in little jobs, right?
Correct.
Because you can fit in little things here and there. Just, let's say they go out and do 250 feet and it's all easy digging. Guess what? They're done in half a day or 3/4 of a day.
Yep.
And they could move on to another job. So you could always throw in a small repair or a smaller job in between that and their next big job. Or, I mean, everybody wants to do nothing but full yards, of course, and we have our issues too at our company. Yet nothing's going to ever be perfect. But I think that as far as seeing your guys and where they're at, old school way would be, I got a full of job cards, right? If they were smaller jobs, one line and two fronts, then I probably got another full job behind that and as a job card. And that wasn't handed to me till the day that I was going out on it.
Right.
As far as, the boss knows how much you can do. And he doesn't know that you may have ran into rock or something like that.
Yeah.
That's back in the day. You went down to the nearest payphone and called the office, say, hey, this is all got rock and I'm going to be here today. They call the client and tell the second client, hey, the guys are not going to be there today. It's going to be tomorrow. And you finish the job that you're on, right? So with the R apps, Company Cam, Job Nimbus, if it's used correctly by your employees and your contractors, it will definitely let you know where they're at on the job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It lets you know that the job's finished. If they send a picture and you see a finished fence and it's got your sign on it, guess what? The job's done. Because that's what we require. We or what we would like to have all of our contractors, especially, is when you're done with the job, take some pictures, make sure our sign is in one of those pictures, and it tells me, okay, you finished the job.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But keeping the fact that you know your crews, right? Or you have a way of tracking them through their apps. Did they accept the job on the date that you want it to get done? Because we're still working on some of that to some degree. And for the most part, I think that if you have good crews, you know what? They're gonna accept. They're gonna know. If it was me, if I was a contractor right now working for our company, I mean, and it's local, I'm probably going to be able to tell you whether I'm going to be able to do all that job the same day or not, right? Because I pretty much know all the rocky areas here or where the potential is. And so do I think most of our guys. There might be a little bit of places that they don't think rock and run into it, right?
Right.
Because we don't always know that there's rock there every time, but boy, we know where the ones are that you do have rock.
I was on a rocky one today out in
Yeah.
Sapulpa, man. It was up in the foothills going from West Tulsa to Sapulpa around the south end of Prattville. And man, I mean, you can see the rocks poking through the hill that the house was built on
it. I know that when I was contracting and I worked I actually contracted from Bob on 2 jobs. I was needing work at the time. And he gave me 2 jobs over in Sapulpa off of Highway 97 going, or not 97, off of, what is that highway?
117.
Yeah, 117.
Yep.
And if you go into Sapulpa off 117, those big mounds or hills where they've got houses sitting up on the top, they look you're driving down the highway.
Yep.
Big
on the north side.
Yeah, on the north side. So I had 2 houses on the back side of that thing, both round rail. And man, I was like, okay, no problem, man. That's all rock. It may not look like it's rock up there, but that's a rock.
Is that limestone?
Yeah, man, it's all rock. It took me all day to set just one of those jobs and then another full day to set the next one. Because we beat it out. I didn't have no jackhammer. We beat it out with a rock bar. Jeez. But that is all rock on those mounds. See there. There's no dirt want to. I mean, there's a little bit of dirt, but to get the post all the way down, you will be beating rock on that. And it doesn't look it from the highway, but it's there. Trust me. All of that and everything from there all the way back to, I think, all the way to the new turnpike is all rocky like that. Believe it or not.
Right. Yep.
But you
So you got to know your area, right?
Right. And those were one of those things I couldn't have told you there was rock there. Those are the first 2 jobs I ever done up on top of them hills. And, it burned me because I didn't make no money off them jobs, right? It was already cheap because I was just trying to fill in until my big job came in. So I did them cheap for him and then spent more time on it. It's like, okay, well, I ain't making no money, but
right.
I gotta keep busy, I guess. And
so for Donnie, for Austin, what would you recommend? So there's other options besides Job Nimbus for like a CRM. So a CRM is a customer relations manager, right? That's how you can put in notes, set up maybe automations, do emails from it, invoicing, estimates, all that stuff. And then there's programs like Company Cam, where now Company Cam even has a feature where you can take payments. You can actually type up mock invoices and stuff like that in Company Cam. You've used them all. You've used them both. What do you think would be more critical for someone in his circumstance where he's looking to just control the information of his jobs and make sure it's easier for his whole team?
100% you're going to be talking Job Nimbus.
Yep. Okay.
100% Job Nimbus will help you keep track of all of it. You can put photos in that. You don't have to have Company Cam. It doesn't allow you to, I don't think it allows you to collaborate like Company Cam does, but
no.
But it don't stop you from emailing your information to your people neither.
True. Yep.
If that's the way you want to do it. But it does control all the information. So Job Nimbus controls all of our information.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
That's where I go for all my different ways.
Yeah, having a CRM, anymore is just, it's the first thing you should start with almost. If you're going to spend a couple $100 a month and you want to, you're imagining, why would I spend that money? You see what we do with the investment that we put it into it. And like I said, it allows us to be a multi-million-dollar company, right?
Right.
And with few people.
Right. And and the only reason why Job Nimbus is going to this, because you can put all of your information. There's no information that we do even on our other apps or your notepad or whatever. All of that information can be put into Job Nimbus.
Right.
Just by having the one app. We know that.
Yep.
We just use it as so we use it to keep track, but we use that Company Cam because we use a lot of pictures and for the pictures, most of the time Company Cam's a good app to use. I still have some issues with the video part. Right. It does good pictures. When it comes to videos, it depends on your service, I guess. Because I have times where I do these long videos and it's like, man, it loads right up. And I'm like, how? I do these little, 2-minute videos and it takes it 30 minutes to put it in. It's the service that you're in or the area that you're in and the service you're getting on your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using to do all that with.
I can't confirm that it's not user error, but
yeah. Where it's 100%. I can get on there, I can do video, and we can do photos on Job Nimbus too. We don't have to do it through Company Cam.
Right. Right.
It's the way we want to collaborate with our crews, and that's something that he would have to figure out. But Job Nimbus would be where he should start as far as
if it's him and a helper, and then maybe he has a second crew or something like that. Austin, we'd really probably need to know more information. But I think that you're right, Donnie. The easy way to do it and to just create a space where you can start parking all the information and really data mining your own information, right? Start tracking, how do we get our leads? And we do all these things, right? Because everything matters. We spend all this money on SEO. We spend money on Google Ads, and we do the home and garden show, and we can show each one of those things how much revenue and how much money we're actually making off of the dollars spent there.
Right. And so here's the downfall to it, I think. So I don't know how you give me access to it. I have full access to the Job Nimbus through the office, as far as I know. I mean, I've not been restricted from anything that I know of, or at
Hey,
least
Ashley,
I've gone.
go ahead and restrict Donnie when we
Yeah.
get off the call here.
So you may have people like your contractors. You may not want them knowing all the information that's in there because there's no reason for them to know what an estimate is sold for.
Right. Well,
Right.
and that's where you have to know, if you use subcontractors, you have to be aware of your system requirements or how they do it. And that's one of the reasons we're going to Elite Technique, is because Matt has it set up to where you can give subcontractor permissions and they will never see a price on anything, but they have every ounce of information on that job except for pricing,
Right.
which is awesome.
I don't know if you can do that in Job Nimbus, can you?
No, you can't.
So that's what I'm saying is, and because I don't go into a lot of the areas in Job Nimbus. There's no reason for me to go into a lot of it. I don't see a lot of or I don't pay attention to a lot of it. Probably it's probably on there. But
yeah, like you can go to the reports and figure out the same information that I'm talking about.
right.
When I was looking at I mentioned in another podcast I did, I was looking at the information with one of my buddies that's an insurance agent, and he was just curious, how have you guys grown so fast, and where are you getting your return on dollars and everything? And we were at basketball practice, and I literally pulled it right up on my phone and said, well, we brought in $1 million off of direct referrals. We brought in, $700,000 off of SEO. We brought in another $500,000 off of Google Ads, and then the rest of it's like the Home and Garden Show and whatever, just some other random things like Facebook and stuff, right? So
Right.
people are shocked when they hear that, but I'm like, the information's right in the system. Randy and I were talking about today. You put garbage information in, you're going to get garbage out. But if you put good information in, you're going to get good information out of it.
Right. And of course, it pays off. So for you, it's real. It's one of those things that just secondhand for you because you're a tech savvy type person. So like some of these things that he's talking about on here right now, I don't even go into. I don't even have to access it because I don't need that information from it. Could I go in there and do that? I'm sure. It's once again, it's going in there and playing around in it.
Right.
And I learned it from the beginning is going in and just actually playing around and going, no, I don't need it in here. Let's go back here. Kind of those things. So there are things that you can't give them access to because if they make changes to it, well, it's screwing up the whole thing, right?
Right.
I mean, what would you if I went in here and you seen where I duplicated 3 estimates or some crap like that on here, and it's like, crap, god dang it. You don't need all these. Now I go in here and I'm going to hear from him because he's going to say, well, man, why you got the same estimate in there 3 times? Or because I can do that. I can send out pretty much the same estimate. It'd be a different estimate number, but it'd be the same estimate.
Yep.
So you do have some learning curve in it, I think, and you've got to have people that are smart enough to know, hey, let's ask a question about this before I do this. Because I do it each day, right? I come to you from time to time and say, hey, how do I do this? How do I get this to where, and it'll be a customer something where customers ask me a question, how can I do this? Or how can you send me this? And I'm like, yeah. Come to you to ask a small question about it. But it's user friendly to the most part, right?
Yep.
Just show them how to get in the basics of it, and it'll give everybody the information they need to do their jobs. 100%. And just tell them, guys, guess what? You don't need the rest of this. This is all you need to go into to figure out what you got to do for the day.
And then for Austin, on top of that, what's cool, like you said, Donnie, it's got a calendar feature in there too, right?
It does.
And then you can put notes. So even if you didn't want to get into the minutia of, tracking every single dollar into it, someone in your office could be putting notes saying, oh, where's that project at? Go into your CRM and then say, okay, I need to allocate this cost to this job. So then that's part of the glory of growing and growing quickly is you've got to always maintain and understand what are your costs on everything, right? Like,
Right.
do I actually have money, or is the money that I think I have, is it real or is it fake? Um,
Right.
Especially when we're now in wintertime, like we've already hit our wintertime season here in Oklahoma, which over the past 7 years hasn't happened in December, right? But you
No.
could see, I mean, it's just lots of different factors that we've all been talking about ad
It's
nauseum.
time here, as far as I'm
What
concerned.
what's that?
It ain't winter time here, but
No, I know. I'm just saying wintertime as far as
the time here,
project. Yeah, right, right.
as far as our weather, it's not winter time here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I wish we'd get back to that type of weather.
Me too.
My dear,
Ashley's shaking her head here. She does not like winter. She's a summer child.
you got to be a deer hunter to like the cold.
Yeah.
See, it
She's,
drives me nuts for me to be going into December, and here we are with 60-degree days.
yeah. She said she'd like to become a deer hunter.
Yeah.
So, well, buddy, let's wrap this one up. Put a bow on it. Good information on the CRM. I think it's good for a lot of the field guys and everyone out there grinding away every day that listens to your show here, where we talk about this stuff and they can hear you explain what's good, what's bad, what's where you're indifferent or whatever.
Right.
What is there anything else that you would recommend to Austin? Again, he's in a very similar situation as us. I would assume at this point that he's probably the crew, or he's got other crews that he's not using subcontractors. I think he probably would have mentioned that if he was using subs.
Still, it doesn't matter whether you're using subs or not. The only thing that's sub between it is what kind of information they're having access to on it.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So you may end up doing something like, basically emailing them to your subcontractor, your information that you have when you pull it up on your screen, and it gives you all of it, right? It gives you the address and even to the location. I mean, you could probably drop pins through it even.
Right.
I don't. I mean, I just go off what's on there, but that's the cool thing about it is when you do, if your in-house guys, of course, just go to that and pick that, and you go to the map and it takes in-house guys right to it. It also I know that for you on the part, it shows when you're getting your 50% down signed and it's ready to go.
Yep.
Because we don't do nothing until you give your 50% or your 45%, whatever it is you're requiring for the job.
Sign offs and all that stuff.
Right. And then, of course, if he's doing it old school, then you've got one person that's doing all the takeoffs for every job. For us, we have people that all of us are experienced, so all of us can do it, as far as the fencing and stuff.
Right.
And, just like this morning, I guess it was me that did it this morning, I think, or yesterday morning. So, and then the fact that he can see that every time on every job that comes in, I think that's a plus. The fact that, you're not even bothering with this job until they get their money sent in.
Right.
Then you can actually schedule a date. And like I said, if he sticks with the fact that he already knows how far he's out and he sticks with that 3-day turnaround, man, he should be fine. I mean, you're going to have a few times where you have to call a customer and postpone it.
Sure.
But especially because we have weather and stuff like that plays a factor in it too. But if you stick with the 3-day turnaround and you schedule jobs accordingly to that, and you make sure your crews are getting that information to start the job on the day of or the day after, and you're sticking with it, generally the 3-day turnaround can be managed, even if you're running 5. We ran 12 crews at Empire whenever I was working there.
Yep.
Stuck with a 3-day turnaround. It can be done. And that's doing it old school. I wasn't even doing it through the app.
Right. Yeah.
That's them a card every day.
Yep. A work order.
Yeah. And yet we still managed it. We still knew what was going on. We knew our crews. We knew what they could do for the day. And if they didn't, communication between your crews are key. We're still working on crews that we have. Even now, we stay on top of them about communication, because if we just communicate, I can communicate with the customer, and we don't have a customer that's unhappy with the service they're getting.
Yes. Nine times out of 10, if you could over communicate on the front end, it will eliminate so much heartache on the back end.
Right.
I
And so,
mean, just people just appreciate that, and everybody's in a, we're a microwave society. We're not a crockpot society anymore. We want it now. We want it
so
immediately,
where
etc. So
I think that's where your company or our company thrives a little bit more is because you have people right now. We have people and give them that answer or talk to those people, and it don't have to be just the one that they actually dealt with, right?
right,
So that's the other thing about Job Nimbus that you can pull up and you can see. I still have some issues where I'm seeing who got what on Job Nimbus
sure,
on it, but it still lets you see that okay, yeah, the job was supposed to be started, and you can see who the contact person was, the salesman that actually you dealt with to begin with. You can always call those people in your company and get your information you need, and it doesn't have to be the actual person that dealt with them originally.
yep,
I
right,
mean, I deal with customers all the time that it's not my customer. I didn't sell no
yeah,
job, but
right,
the fact that you have multiple people that are in the company that are calling these people and doing, because I get thank yous all the time that says thank you Nate and Donnie, and I'm like, I don't remember that job. I'm pretty sure I didn't go on that job. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because I think I got one today, and I'm like, I mean, I don't remember that job, but okay, you're welcome. You know, you mentioned me in there. I guess somehow I've talked to you somewhere, or I've
somewhere, man.
involved in it somehow. But
They usually just don't throw your name in there for no reason. Just saying.
so right, but I may have been involved in it, just through the phone call type deal. I'm not actually
Right,
one that
right,
met with them. I wasn't the one they physically seen. They just know, okay, Donnie's the one I talked to at the office.
right.
So it helps a lot in that. Now you won't probably do that right away with your in-house guys, right? You wouldn't do that with your contractors at all. You don't.
Right, right. No, of course.
All. If you're smart, you're not involving your contractors in that, right? We don't. Like we
No.
tell our contractors, you need to let them know that you're there, but that's all we want you to do. If you have issues, you need to call us, not the customer.
Yes.
I don't want the customer and say, hey, I talked to Nate and we had it all lined out, but yet you're telling me you don't know. Don't call my customer. Call me. I'm the one putting it in.
Right.
You're going through us.
Exactly.
We have issues with that, don't we? You guys need
Yes.
to hold.
Yeah.
And I get that they got to let the customer know that they're there 100%. I do it. Even when it's my customer, I go up to them and say, hey, I just let you know I'm out in the yard and just give me whatever time I got to have and I'll have it taken care of. That's what they should be doing. Now, your in-house guys, of course, they should be able to talk with the customer, especially if they know what they're talking about, right?
Right.
They represent the company. They're
Yeah.
they're 100% liable for when they return back to the office. Well, guys, here's how you're going to handle it from now on. Do not do this again. You can't do that with your contractors. You just run them off.
Right.
So we know that. I mean, it is what it is. I encourage the in-house people, by the way. If you got them, definitely make sure you keep them because it's hard here in Tulsa. It's definitely hard to have them.
Yep. Yep. It's true.
Because we want them. We want
Or
in-house.
good. Or good ones. Right.
Yeah, ones that are actually like what they do and take pride in what they do.
Right.
And well, right now it's any of them. I just don't know very many are out here. Period.
Mm.
If they are, they're already working for a company.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So,
of course. So.
It's just a dying breed out here. I think in Tulsa and Oklahoma, based.
We're gonna find some more.
You got to train them is the problem, and yet it's hard to do that whenever the majority of your crews might be contractors.
Sure.
They don't like to.
That's true. Well, guys, that's it for this week's show. Donnie, is always a pleasure. And if you guys have any other questions, we'll keep hunting the Facebook groups and Instagram and stuff like that, looking for ideas of different questions being thrown out there. But if you want to send them in directly to us too, we'd love to answer them as well. You can always hit us up at info@protectingyourradius.com. And as we cut off here, Donnie, you know the game, and you know where all of your chain link mesh needs can be met today.
Of course.
That's from Mr. Joe Everest, the guy in orange, the fence expert, At ozarkwireworks.com.
Is where you get all your custom chain link.
You can get regular chain link. You can get custom chain link. We just ordered 3,000 feet of 4-foot black extruded 8-gauge from him.
On it.
Yes, sir.
And that's probably the key thing for Joe is if you want your customers to like what you're putting in, definitely go with Joe.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Because we haven't had one customer that is not extremely happy with the wire that we put in.
Right. Yes, I agree.
You know,
they're happy. It makes me happy.
Well, heavy. He needs to figure out a way to make it lighter.
Yeah, exactly. It really is heavy. It
is. So when I picked them rolls up out there in the yard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, this is almost double what it is for the rolls that everybody else is using.
I think it is double off a 9-gauge finish. I was going to mention that.
Yeah,
I think it's
it makes a good looking fence. And every customer that we put it on, they all can tell the difference between that every other chain link that's out there.
Yep.
So
this is not your box store's chain link. I can tell you that for sure.
Right. You won't find it in there.
Hey, December prices just dropped. So for real, if you guys are looking for it, hit that up. If you're up in the Midwest area, up north, our buddies over at Mid-America Fence Supply too, just opened their Cedar Rapids, Iowa location. They're talking to a ton of people out in Iowa, Minnesota, the Dakotas, Illinois, all across that area, Wisconsin, Illinois, all those areas.
Do they build fence in Iowa?
What's that?
They build fence in Iowa?
Allegedly. Apparently a lot. If you ask Dan Wheeler, he thinks
don't they get like snow up to like 12 feet tall?
Well, and this is the thing, Donnie. This is why companies like Mid-America Fence Supply, A to Z, all these guys up there are having so much success with these driven post systems, because it's the first time that a lot of those things, like I don't need to worry about the temperature of the ground, of the air, and all this stuff to set posts in concrete, right? So if I can go out and pound it and the ground isn't solid frozen, they can be pounding posts and working much deeper into the winter season than they would have in the past. So it's a really interesting thing. We're actually working on, coming into this weekend, we're going to be working on some post pounding stuff with our buddies over at Fence Track, and there'll be some videos coming out from that. But anyways, it's going to be good. We're excited. Christmas.
I'm still skeptical.
What'd you say?
I'm still skeptical.
I know Donnie is skeptical. We're gonna change him. I'm gonna get converted to pounding posts, and so will Donnie.
Yeah.
So that's my goal with all this in the end. So I'm excited. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've seen everybody pushing it so much over the last couple of years. It makes sense as long as it's better like that. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
My thing is going to be how much faster can I do the job?
Sure.
Because now I'm not mixing mud. I'm not digging holes. I'm just driving a post in.
I saw a young guy on TikTok yesterday, though. He was doing a post pounder, and he was like pulling it, and it was driving in at like a 45-degree angle. All these guys are just like, yeah, that's not how that's supposed to work, man. You shouldn't have to be hanging on your post pounder to get that thing to drive in the ground. And it was funny. I was sitting there thinking, no, that would totally be me. I'd be pounding the post, and all of a sudden I'd be pulling it.
Pounder.
Right.
I guess. Right. I've always just used the regular deal for driving T-posts or whatever, for any post, even my chain link post. I've had to put up some temporary chain link jobs that had to look like it was put in with concrete, and it stayed up for a year, just like any other fence. But we needed to be able to remove it, and you can do it. It just takes time, and you got to make sure you leave enough to cut off so you can grade stuff in. But I've never used one of the automated pounders, so all this would be new to me. But man, if it means jobs going in faster, you don't have to wait, right?
Yep.
That's the whole key to this, is not having to wait.
Yep.
You literally pull up on a job, drive post, and start putting it together. I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's exactly what you get to do.
Because that's the only benefit to it.
Yep.
is the fact that you can start a job and just stay on it until it's done.
We're gonna pound a couple jobs, and then we'll have Donnie come back on and give you guys a analysis of what he.
I'll let you know how
doing it
when I go push on him.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. We appreciate everybody listening. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for taking a little downtime with Donnie and Nathan. The opinions and comments on this show are of the participants only and do not reflect that of its sponsors or partners. For more content and information about Radius, visit www.protectingyourradius.com. Give us a like, share this online, and look for us back real soon.